we have an economy that's incredible. We have an economy that's so fragile. And the only reason it's running now is it's running off the fumes of what we did, what the Trump administration. It's just running off the fumes. And when there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months.
Don't tell Fed Chairman Jay Powell. I'm Kevin Cirilli. It's time for the Daily Debrief. Let's get right to it. A handful of hardline conservatives in the House Freedom Caucus are threatening to kill a bipartisan deal between GOP House Speaker Mike Johnson and Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. As lawmakers return from their holiday recess, this will be Johnson's first big test as a speaker, with a January 19th partial government shutdown date looming. Johnson had expressed optimism when he reached the $1.66 trillion deal with Schumer. But with the balance of power so narrow in the House of Representatives, a few hardline conservatives say that Johnson did more to negotiate with Democrats and his own party, especially on the issue of border security. Time now for the Daily Decision Desk update. A new CNN poll out this morning from New Hampshire has Nikki Haley within single digits, striking distance, of beating former President Donald Trump in the Granite State. According to the poll, Trump's at 39%, Haley at 32%. And when you dig deeper, get this, Chris Christie's 12% added to Haley's support would actually beat Trump altogether. But Iowa comes first, and Haley is fighting for second place against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in the Hawkeye State, with just days away until the first in the nation caucus contest. Trump will be sidelined from campaigning today as he's headed back to court in Washington, D.C., where a federal appeals court is deciding whether or not to dismiss Jack Smith's charges against him. Trump citing presidential immunity. And the Democrats are continuing with minority outreach. President Biden speaking earlier this week at Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina, and the DCCC investing more than $35 million into minority outreach. 1 in 100 people in Gaza have been killed following the Hamas terror attack against Israel on October 7th. The harrowing new death count in Gaza surpassed 22,800 lives earlier this week, according to Gaza health officials. Israeli Defense Forces have been shifting to a new phase of the conflict, focusing specifically on Hamas leadership. Elsewhere, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel, where State Department officials say that he is working to prevent the conflict from spreading elsewhere. And U.S. officials have remained steadfast in their support for Israel, but have been growing increasingly more critical of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's strategy in Israel's war against Hamas. NASA is pushing back its Artemis II lunar moon mission for a few more months. The Artemis II mission would send astronauts to orbit the moon. That's the first time that would happen since the end of the Apollo program in the 1970s. And Astrobiotic, that's the private space company that launched a robotic moon lander earlier this week on a NASA rocket. They say that they have to abandon their mission after a fuel leak shortly after takeoff. Now, Astrobiotic had been awarded a NASA contract, and its mission was seen as a boom for the privatization of space. That's it for today's Daily Debrief. My name is Kevin Cirilli. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.